It's Elisa Kos bringing you Jits and Giggles podcast. Ryan Cafaro.
Yes.
Welcome to Jits and Giggles.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. So I guess we'll talk first about your recent win.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Not very jiu-jitsu-y, but
No.
yeah, I mean, he
Got the job done.
Yeah, that was my first round knockout in a couple of years, so that felt good to just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've just been in like the last two fights prior to that was just like brawl after brawl.
Mm-hmm.
Like in March, I had probably one of the roughest fights in my career, and then in May, when I won the title, I had one of the most physically taxing fights in my career where I had to grapple really hard for 4 rounds. And then this time it was just good to just go bink, bink, and then...
Right. Oh,
Sorry about
we just
that.
talked about that.
Yeah.
You can't take the
We're
fighter
good.
out of you.
Yeah.
Trying to fight my microphone.
But yeah, so it was good to just get it done in the first round. A nice change of pace. And
Yeah.
I was happy too because sometimes I feel like I've been in prior fights like a bit of a slow starter. So like it was good to be, a fast starter this time and to just get it done with.
Oh, yeah. I'm
So
sure it's
I
like a sense of relief when you don't have to go all the way.
Yeah, like part of me was also like there was a small part of me that I was like a little bummed that I was like, if he had lasted 2 more seconds that we could have gone to the second round, I could have let loose more. I felt like I was just kind of getting loose in there, but I'm also not going to complain.
I was going to say that's interesting. It's almost like you wanted to showcase a little bit more of your
I felt like the fight was beginning to become kind of like a war of attrition and like I was reading some pundits and just some random people online were saying like I thought Ryan was losing the first round leading up to the point where he knocked him out with 2 seconds left in the first, and I was kind of like, well, that is not how I saw it because like there are little things that like I noticed that nobody else will notice. So like I landed 3 of like the hardest calf kicks in my entire career, and like Justin Patton was very, very tough, but I was like, these are bothering you, I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, there was a point where we clinched on the fence for probably like a minute and a half, and I landed probably 10, maybe close to a dozen knees, and they don't look crazy, but when I landed every single knee, I heard him go, oof, oof, and like, there was one point where his coaches were trying to tell him something, and like, he kind of is like a lively person in the cage, like he talks and smiles and laughs, so while he was trying to talk to them, I was kneeing him, and he was like, okay, I got it, and I was like, ooh, that's...
Yeah.
Like.
You bring up a good point that I never really considered is like you being obviously so close and in there, you're picking up on little things that the fans are not, even the fans close.
Right. And like there was another thing that I was like really proud of was like I watched, I studied all of his fights, and a lot of times like his teammates were doing commentary for his fights and they were saying like, oh, he has such a strong body lock. Once he gets a hold of you, it's like he's got like a vice grip. And when we locked up on the fence, we would go like over under, and when I would lock my hands and just crush his arm in between his body, I heard the breath leave his like lungs. Like I heard him go like, and I was like, oh, I'm strong.
And I assume that must give you some type of like, motivation to keep going.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I was just like, I just felt like, if this is your A game, and
I'm doing good
you in your A game,
right?
Like, not
Confidence.
metaphorically. If I'm literally crushing you during your A game, I'm like, all right, this is making me feel good.
Right.
So.
And it's like I've talked to so many fighters at this point, and it's like, the confidence, the mind game is like half the battle, right? So I imagine that when you hear that, there's a little bit of confidence that allows you to have a positive mindset. In that
just
moment.
like and even just like the tit for tat, he'd need me, I go, I need him, he goes, and it was like, okay, 1 point for me, -1 for you. So it just sort of adds up.
Yeah.
So.
And like, obviously you're going in with some sort of a game plan, but when you do hear, maybe like your calf kicks or whatever it is that's landing, are you making adjustments knowing that he's feeling it?
So I was making adjustments. This was the first time I've rematched someone in MMA.
Okay.
And I rematched one fighter in Muay Thai, this Thai champion, Ethan Geffen. He's an absolute killer from New York. And that fight was it was hard to like make the adjustments because I did so well in the first fight that Ethan was the one that had to make all the adjustments. So he fixed all the problems.
Yeah.
And then when I went out there trying to expose the same problems, they weren't there anymore. Like, I remember he threw like a ton of body kicks and I caught him and swept them. And then in the next fight, I was like, come on, throw the body. And he refused to throw that body kick. And I was like, damn. So it's kind of like a game that you kind of have to play where like, if I did well in the first fight, what am I going to do to adapt in the second fight?
Yeah.
So in this fight, like when we had our first fight, it was only 2 minutes. But in those 2 minutes, I think I landed like 6 left hooks and like 4 or 5 inside low kicks to the inner thigh. So then I was like, okay, well, I can't rely on the left hook and the inside low kick. I'm going to have to think of something else.
Jits and Giggles podcast is partnering with Jiu-Jitsu Outpost for their New Orleans training camp. This is an all-inclusive event happening May 14th through 17th. It includes hotel, transportation, the coolest excursions, multiple dinners, and the best training in New Orleans. For my ladies, this event is highly women-friendly. There will be several women at each training session. We literally know how hard it is to find that. I'll be there, and right now, if you sign up using the code GIGGLES, they are offering you 10% off. Visit jujitsuoutpost.com or Jiu-Jitsu Outpost on Instagram for more information. See you there.
So then that's when the game plan was to really rely on the calf kick and the switch kick to the body. And then when we exchanged, we had the first exchange of the fight. He threw a low kick, and then I landed the same left hook, and I was like, you haven't fixed this. So after that, I was like, well, I'm going to keep throwing the left hook.
Funny.
Yeah.
It's funny that, like, you know, you're literally fighting for your life, technically, and you have this, like, internal dialogue. Yeah. It's hilarious.
I was like, that's still, you haven't, but that's the thing that I landed, and I just landed again. So then I just kept throwing the left hook because it kept freaking landing.
Right.
And then, and I mean, like, I'm sure part of that is instinctual, but there was a point in the fight where he went to throw, it was the end of the fight, he went to throw the right hand, and I just felt like I was in good position, and it was the first time that I, like, sat down and committed to the shots heavy and threw more than one punch, because, like, my coaches, they always scream it. They're like, more than one, because a lot of times I get away with landing one clean shot,
right,
and then I just kind of, like, dip out or admire my work. So this time I threw two, and then I'm like, oh, he's on the floor.
You're
so
like,
I'm
that kind of worked. They kind of know what they're talking
I'm like,
about.
all right, I'll listen, fine, if it scores me a knockout, but...
So on the reverse side, if you're in a position or a situation, I should say, where somebody got the best of you in a moment, is there an internal dialogue going on?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He did land one good calf kick in the fight. You remember when Dave Chappelle was doing, like, his Prince impression?
Yes.
He kicked me and I was like, ooh. Like, that's it.
I can't get over this because, like, grappling, I do that sometimes competing, but I just never expected when you're, like, you know, dodging punches to the face that you could have a moment to even think that clearly.
There's like, there was a one fight I got caught with, like, a nasty uppercut, like, right under the eye, and, like, I looked at the ceiling and my face was swollen immediately, and I was just like, ooh, you motherfucker. So there's, like, there's definitely, like, I've had different reactions to different things.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely been, like, moments where I've been hit by something and I'm like, oh my God, if I get hit by that, I'm going to die. And then, like, there's other moments where, like, when I fought Ricardo Fuentes in March, he would, like, jab me and I would basically headbutt his fist. And
Gotcha.
I felt like Heath Ledger's Joker, like, come on, hit me. Like, just, it just every fight is different.
And the adrenaline's there, of course, so that helps. But, like, can you remember any moments where you're, like, actually terrified? In the moment? Or is it just too much adrenaline?
When I fought Anthony Delemy for the title.
Okay.
So I had, like, he hit so hard. I, like, preparing for the fight, I watched him win the title, and he throws a double jab overhand. The guy's hand is up perfectly, glued to his head. He hits the guy's hand, and he just goes down. He just punched him through his guard and just floored him. And I was like, what do I do for that? I was like, how am I supposed to defend that? If I block it perfectly, I'm still getting knocked out? What the
right.
So
that is scary.
I, like, had basically nightmares for, like, 2 months leading up to that fight. That, like, I would just do everything perfect and still get knocked out.
Yeah.
So, like, I kind of had to come to grips with that. And then in the first round, he got me in, like, a dirty boxing clinch. He threw an uppercut, and then he threw the exact same overhand, and it hit me like a rabbit punch in, like, the back of the head behind the ear, and my knees just buckled, and I was like, this is the moment. This is it.
You're like, no.
Yeah.
This is what I've been thinking
but
about.
then, look, I was in such good shape for that fight, and I just feel like from like a mental standpoint, I told the referee in the back, I was like, if I lose this fight, I'm probably going to retire, so please let him flatline me before you stop the fight. I was like, if I go down, like, I want to be like, I do not want to remember it. Fucking flatline me.
What did he say?
He was like,
I can't do that.
Brother, as long as you intelligently defend yourself. Because it was
Shaolin.
Shaolin.
Yo, I want him on the podcast if he ever hears this. He's hilarious.
Oh, but it was so funny because then later he told his son, who is he trains, he, like, cross trains with us in Nick and Tones. He told his son later, he was like I coached this guy, and he says, like, if I fight, let me die. I was like, brother, this puts so much pressure on me, bro. So he was, like, freaking out about, like, oh my God, I can't screw this guy's fight up.
I'm sure he doesn't hear that every day.
Yeah, but luckily it was like, you know,
yeah,
I never let him get to a position where I was, like, close to being stopped. So
Poor, what's his name?
Poor Vitor.
Vitor, yeah. Okay, I want to back up a little bit. So, well, first, tell me, when did you actually get into the CFFC?
10 years ago. I made my
10
debut in
years ago.
2015.
Okay.
So, like, to give you an idea, I don't think Felder was in the UFC yet.
Okay.
He was a commentator for CFFC. That's how long ago that was.
Yeah.
So, like, prior to the beginning of Paul Felder's UFC run.
Wow.
So, I've been in it for a minute.
Okay, but then before that, what did you start with? Like, what is your athletic background?
So, I did Tang Sudo, which is an artistic form of Taekwondo. And I did that for 6 months to a year when I was 7 years old.
Oh, cool.
And then nothing.
Oh.
And then I did some cross country in high school, and I got bullied by a senior who was a dick. And then that kind of forced me to like I just wanted to like be stronger after that, because I was like, I don't want to be like bullied by these fucking assholes, especially a skinny senior high school track runner.
Were you what grade were you in when this was happening?
I was a freshman,
and he was a senior.
Yeah, he was a prick.
So you started doing some type of
I started
arts?
lifting weights.
Oh, you started lifting weights.
And I had tried wrestling in 6th or 7th grade. My teammate and I tried it, and I just, flailed around on the ground and got pinned. I didn't know what I was doing. And then, like, I did one real practice, and I was like, I don't think you're supposed to feel this tired or sore. I don't like this. I'm quitting. Because, of course, like, it's 6th or 7th grade. I didn't know any better. And my parents were classically trained musicians. So, like, they didn't know. They were just like, yeah, do whatever you want. I don't know. Like, whatever. So then I started lifting in sophomore year of high school, and then my friend Andrew Aguilar, who was like a district champion and stuff like that, he was like, dude, like, you should go back out and wrestle. You're getting like pretty strong, because like I just became obsessed with lifting weights. So then I started wrestling, and then I like won a couple of JV matches and stuff like that. It was like my first year as a sophomore. I think I was like 4-8 on JV. Nice. And then the next year I was like 19-3 on JV. Wow. And then I won like 1 or 2 varsity matches. Oh. And then my senior year I was the varsity starter. I had like a 500 record, but I placed in districts. So I took
it clicked at some point.
Yeah, so it just kept getting better and better. And like more I did, the more I was obsessed about it.
Very cool.
And then so then I wrestled in college for like 3 years at Gloucester County College, like one medical year, because I was like, I'm hurt. And then I took like a medical red shirt just because like I wanted to keep wrestling. And I didn't want to waste a year just injured or whatever. And then at the same time as college wrestling, I started MMA because I had, like my senior year of high school, I started going to a Tiger Schulman's. Oh. And that's where I started doing everything all together at once. So I started MMA basically.
Okay. So Tiger Schulman, see, I think I thought Tiger Schulman's only does like karate.
No, they have like a very accomplished MMA team.
Okay.
And they like at their headquarters, they have like a bunch of really high level fighters. So like Ricardo Fuentes, who I fought in March, was a Tiger. He's a Tiger Schulman's prospect. Yeah.
Because I just think of like as a kid, like seeing the commercials.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. But then because of that, they have so many schools, they can pull elite talent from all those pools and then bring them to their headquarters, which is in like North Jersey somewhere.
So what made you even want to try MMA?
I saw it on TV. Huh. I just saw
a lot of people tell me that's a lot of people's answers.
I was literally it was like my sophomore or junior year, and I was sitting in my mom's kitchen, and I had one of those little I had one of those little TVs in the kitchen. You remember the ones?
Yeah.
And I turned on Spike TV, and the first fight I ever saw was Evan Tanner versus David Loazo. And it was like Evan Tanner was out wrestling him and stuff, and then all of a sudden Loazo reversed him and then started bombing elbows and beat him with TKO via cuts, plural. And I saw that, and I was like, whatever that sport is,
I want to do
that's what I want to do. And I just loved it just, like, at the time, it seemed very underground. It seemed like something, like, dark and, like, something like, no, you shouldn't do this. And I was very rebellious in high school. And I was always, like, looking for fights in high school. And, like, because I felt like I needed to prove something to myself, especially, like, because it sounds semi-cliche, but I think I had been bullied a little bit. And, and so, like, I would pick fights to get into fights because I wanted to be better at fighting and would show that I was tough.
Did you ever get back at any of the bullies?
Yes. Yes, nice. I did. But there are still 2 on my hit list. So if I had the opportunity, I would sucker punch them in public to this day.
You're not, I'll tell you really quickly, there's no names will be mentioned, but I have a friend who literally I was texting recently, and he's our age, around like 30s, and he's like, yeah, like my high school bully started doing jujitsu, and I'm going to find him at the gym and beat him up. And I was like, I approve of that.
That would be great. If I got the opportunity, I would probably crank an armbar way too hard.
Yeah, you legally can beat them up.
Might just fine tune my heel hooks and be like, my bad. Pop, 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 pop. But But yeah,
That's
it's funny that I talk a big game like that, and then I actually saw one of them at like a grocery store, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing? Like, long time no see."
Took the higher route. Nice.
Yeah, but I was thinking, I was like, other cameras. Fucking
You're
crap.
like scoping. The
Yeah, I
place
was
out.
like, if I hit you, can I get away with it? If you hit the ground, will you die? Will I go to jail? Is it worth it? And so it's just kind of like,
yeah,
I'll let it slide, but you're a piece of shit. And I don't like you,
and there's
so.
like power in knowing you could kick their ass. You know?
Yeah. So yeah.
So back to MMA. So when you tried MMA, were you good at it right away?
I would say like I was definitely more athletic than I thought I was.
Okay.
But I was just an athletic spaz. So because I had wrestled, I could scramble.
Okay.
But because I could scramble, I didn't really learn any technique. I would just try to cartwheel out of things and just front roll and cartwheel and roll and this and that.
Yeah, you're just athletic.
Yeah. So it was really funny that I felt like I was not good at jiu-jitsu. I could basically give my back up, stand up, fight the wrist, and Granby roll. And that was like my thing for like 6 or 7 years. Through
Relying on
my
that is
amateur,
crazy.
through my pro career. Obviously, like I did some cool stuff. Like, so there was a point in I was a white belt for a while, and then Jonathan Webb was coaching me at a tournament, and because I had wrestled, they put me in like intermediate or expert for no-gi, and it was at a Naga, and my first match, crazy back and forth match, I lose by 1 point. So I was like, well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
So I watched the no-gi tournament. This guy blows through the entire no-gi tournament, and then he's like on the podium holding up like his like deceased brother's shirt and like crying and stuff. And I was like, that's a feel-good story.
Yeah.
So then I have to do gi, and they put me in blue belt even though I'm a white belt. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. But they were like, you wrestled or whatever. So then I go in, and my first match is the guy who won the entire no-gi. And I was like,
no,
come on, man. So I get on the mat, and the referee goes, "Why are you a white belt?" And I literally said, I was like, "Don't worry about it. This is gonna be over fast."
Yeah.
Word for word.
Yeah.
So then we shake hands, and he grabs my sleeve, and I grab his head and sleeve, and I was like, "Look it, I'll try it." And I just jumped for a flying armbar, and I landed.
And you hit it.
And I tapped him in 10 seconds.
That's amazing.
And like I got up, and Jonathan was like this,
We love
and I looked at Jonathan. I was like,
You're like, oh well.
yeah. And the ref was like, "You said it was gonna be fast. I didn't think that's what you meant." And I was like, "I didn't think I meant it." So like I had some like moments of cool things, because like the first move I learned out of any submission was flying triangle. Not
what? Where were you?
YouTube, Genki Sudo.
Okay.
I watched Genki Sudo on YouTube. So like my first attempt at trying anything was like, well, I don't want to. I'll just go right to flying triangle. I'll just skip everything.
Sure, your partners love
I
that.
would jump flying triangle in practice, and they're like, "Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that."
Yeah.
Or they'd be like, "Hey, you don't even." So I would jump it, and my legs would be like this, and they'd be like, "No, you have to like."
Yeah, like
and then
adjust.
I was like, "Oh," so like it was pretty funny that like I just skipped straight to the cool stuff. I did all the stuff that like now when I see somebody learning and they're like, "Well, I want to go right to a flying," I'm just like,
you're like, that's crazy, even though you
like,
did it.
Well,
you started with wrestling and then you got into MMA, but where did you learn jiu-jitsu as you were learning MMA, or was just jiu-jitsu alone?
So going back to where I felt like I basically only could scramble.
Yeah.
So I felt like my jiu-jitsu off my back in particular, like aside from a guillotine, was non-existent.
Gotcha.
Like I would use the guillotine and then I would turn away to get people to chase my back, and then I would throw the guillotine back in. So like if you ever watched like high school wrestling in New Jersey, like Taylor Walsh was a monster. And Taylor Walsh would do the complete opposite of what you're supposed to do in wrestling. You never reach back. If you reach back, you get pinned. Taylor Walsh in high school and in college would reach back and pin everybody. And at his senior year of college, he tied the NCAA all-time pinning record by reaching backwards, grabbing people, and just pulling them down and pinning them.
That's wild.
So my guillotine style became very similar to that. Like they're like, "Dude, stop reaching for the guillotine. You're out of position." I would like reach back, grab it, scoot away, and they would follow me, and then I'd eventually like go back in.
It would work, yeah.
And I mean, like I tapped Jeremiah Labiano with it, and he's like a pretty elite black belt who's never been submitted in his entire MMA career until I fought him.
That's wild.
And then like, so like I've submitted people with the guillotine that like have never been submitted or are definitely not supposed to be submitted with the guillotine. But it also like, it's gotten me in trouble as well. I've lost fights by burning my arms out on it and things like that. So I'm definitely like live by the sword, die by the sword.
You're still doing it if
you can. 100%. I still try it. But like, so I was doing this the whole time, and then I finished my career at like pre-pandemic, I was 7-5.
Okay.
Not the best record.
Yep.
2 fights away from a 500 record. And at that point, I was busy coaching a lot. I was coaching Sajar Eubanks and Caitlin Chukagian primarily. So the girls that was like, we would call ourselves Farsky's Angels because I was like Farsky and they were the Angels. Yeah, it was great. And then I'll never forget it. We were at the UFC PI and I was grappling with Sean Shorty Rock Santella, and Sarge is watching, and we finish our round and she goes, "Oh, I didn't know you don't know how to grapple." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, you just hit it with athleticism. You have no idea what you're doing." And I was like,
just one single tear.
Yeah, basically. So then but Sarge has always been blunt to me about stuff like that. She's like, "Yeah, your jiu-jitsu sucks. You need to like fix this, this, and this." Okay. So then after that happened, I started going to jiu-jitsu like religiously, primarily with Ricardo Almeida and his team of people, because I had always, been like, I had cornered like Frankie Edgar at this point,
right?
Worked with Claudia Gadelia. Like I was always like there to be like a teammate for those guys and holding pads for some of those guys. And then I was working with Ricardo Almeida and his team, and then I was working with Tim Sylvester from Gracie Hamada, who is like one of the most technical professors I have ever worked with. Like his style is not for everybody because he will teach you one move, teach you 3 variations of that move, or variations just like little positional adjustments, and he will drill that one move for an entire hour straight. You will do nothing else.
Bored to tears.
Exactly. You are bored to tears, and then you finish the practice, and then the next day the move is in your arsenal.
Yeah.
And so then you're like, well, it's not boring now because I'm actually keeping it.
Makes sense.
Working with him, I developed some really interesting technical things because he definitely does like, I feel like he's kind of like an East Coast on her that nobody really knows about. So I developed a lot better jiu-jitsu working with like Sarge and Ricardo Almeida and Tim Sylvester. So then the next time I rolled with Sarge, I went for like
I was gonna ask.
I did like a Berimbolo or like a daily heave or something, and Sarge was like, "Oh," she was like, "Oh, you learned some jiu-jitsu," and I was like, "Yes."
You like go home and check it off your list.
I was like, "I don't suck anymore." Woo! So like that was like
That's
definitely
hilarious.
Yeah, it took a jiu-jitsu black belt like Sarge, who had she's won IBJJF like 6 or 7 times or something like that. It took someone like her to be like, "Oh, you don't know how to grapple at all," to be like, "All right, well, I guess I'll learn how to grapple."
It was tough love, that's all.
Oh yeah. And I appreciate that, and I'm thankful for, people being blunt with me every day. Like the teammates around me, nobody sugarcoats anything.
Yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah. I am not a big fan of yes men. I've seen a lot of yes men in MMA, and there are a lot of guys that like, they're really good, and then they rest on their laurels because they're just around a bunch of people that are just slobbing the knob of like, "Oh, you're so good, bro." Oh, and it's just like, and then they get in their own head about it. It's like you gotta find that happy medium where you're not bashing yourself down about how much you suck, but you also need to find like, hey, you're not as good with this as you think you are.
Yeah,
like,
you don't want to rely on false confidence.
Right.
I've seen that from certain people.
So like my jiu-jitsu coach, Tyler McBride, who is Ricardo Almeida black belt, he like is constantly like, "Hey, we have to fix like A, B, and C." Like he gave me multiple escape avenues from my guillotine.
That's good.
So my guillotine now has like a plan A through plan D. Like I've got like 4 different outs. If it doesn't work, how to sweep, how to get up, how to reverse, how to finish from different angles, etc.
Yeah.
So and I feel good because I feel like I was a one-trick pony when it came to the groundwork, and now I feel like I still am a one-trick pony, but it has so many different branches now.
Yes.
Like, it's like everything is reliant off my guillotine, but my guillotine has so many different ways to go about it now.
Yeah.
So, like, even if you can stop my initial guillotine, I've got, like, readjustments and resweeps and things like that. So it's not just a guillotine, and you always have to worry about it.
It's funny. I had Roosevelt Sousa on recently, and he was talking about octopus guard. And I was saying, like, one of the reasons a lot of people don't like going for it is because of what happens if you miss it. And it's kind of relevant to what you're saying, because he was like, you just have to know what to do if plan A doesn't work. Right. You have to have plan B, C, D, E, F, and then you don't care. You just go for things. It's kind of similar.
Yeah, and like I've definitely had like some moments where it's just like, if my plans A through D don't work, I always go to plan X. And plan X is just spaz and athlete out of things. I'm like, just front
you just stand
roll.
up.
Yeah, I'm like, just belly down and then stand up because jiu-jitsu's gay. You know what I mean? Just like whatever and hope for the best. And a lot of times it works. Yeah. So shout out Derek Lewis. Just jiu-jitsu's gay, stand up.
So at what point were you like, okay, maybe I can make a career out of this? No, you're like, I still haven't had that moment.
I just like, I don't know. It's just kind of like
with CFFC on your radar?
I mean, like,
Or did it just happen?
Just regionally, CFFC was, you know, like definitely like one of the premier regional organizations. So I thought it was cool that I was fighting for them. But like, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, without some serious sponsors, you can't pay bills.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I'll be honest, after 16 years of fighting, this has been the first year where I have ever been in the black and ever not lost money on fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my entire career, I have never really turned a profit from a single fight.
Wow.
Until this year.
Yeah, and that's very common.
Yeah. So for 15 years, I made no money.
Yeah.
When I fought Justin Patton the first time, the paycheck that I made was so lame. It was like after, you know, licensing fees and this, that, and the third, I probably made $875, something like that. Mm-hmm. And the amount of sponsors I had, zip. No sponsors. And then I got an Airbnb in Pittsburgh, and I had to fly out one of my coaches on short notice because I had somebody fall out at the last second. So like, I probably blew $1,200-$1,300 just on fight week alone, between food and travel and all that stuff. And then I don't even make that back, and then I get an eye poke no contest. So like that fight in particular really like tested me mentally of like, what do I want to do from here? Because at that point I had just lost the Art of War title in a fight against a fighter who was 500 that I definitely like underestimated, and I paid for it. I like lost a split decision in a fight where I got sick on fight week. I pushed through anyways, had a bad weight cut, and did not take my opponent seriously. And because of that, I lost the fight by split. And it was like one of those things where it's like, and then I was like a shoo-in for the Ultimate Fighter, and then I lost that fight, and then they were like, oh, sorry, we selected somebody else. So then it was just like, that was another opportunity of mine where I felt like I was going to go to the big show, and I blew it. So like, you know, definitely was depressed for a little bit after that, like a month or so.
Were you working full-time, doing something else?
I'm always training people. My job is I'm coaching and training clients full-time. Yeah. So like, I was always doing that, but like, so whenever I fight, it normally takes away from my income. Mm-hmm. And then for the first time ever this year in 2025, I had enough sponsors where I could actually focus on my career and not have to train a bunch of people in the middle of my fight camps. So like, if we go back to pre-pandemic, I fought a guy named Mike Lawrence, and on fight week, I was holding pads for Marlon Moraes when he was getting ready to fight Henry Cejudo. So like, that's physically rough.
Oh, hell
like, I'm dehydrated, and I'm at wrestling practice at Princeton with Marlon, and then he's like, oh, hold the pads, bro. And I'm like,
okay.
Fucking A, dude. He's like kicking me, and my whole skinny, dehydrated frame is like, ow, ow. So it's just like, so now it's like, for the first time in my career ever, this year, the major changes that were made were I get to rest. Mm-hmm. I get to focus on my training, and then I am not a sparring partner for somebody else. Like, I bring sparring partners in to work with me.
Smart.
Or like, I seek training that like the spar is like what I need, and then I pay my coaches to come to my spars.
Yeah.
So like, I get a real feel for how it's going to be like when I'm being coached by these guys, and the trust and the like the subconscious like autonomy that we create there has been such a major game changer in my fighting style, because I feel like a professional athlete for the first time now. And that makes sense. And I just feel like I've spent my entire career prior to this year just kind of hoping for the best and just going out there and just relying on my athleticism and my skill. But it's like, there are so many X factors that need to be addressed, and like things like, are you going to listen to your coaches subconsciously during a fight? You can't have hesitation. So like, my guys like Billy Markle, Malik Kamara, and Tyler McBride, my three, like, those are like my three guys when they coach me. When they call stuff, I do it. And like, there's a really cool, so this is a very funny thing that like, so I would call a combination for my teammate Billy Markle when I cornered him. Let's just say it's X. Yeah. So then I call X, Billy throws the combination in his fight and then gets knocked out. And I was sick to my stomach. And I was like, I lost him the fight because I called this stupid combo, and then he threw it and he got knocked out. So then in my next fight, he called the same combo for me. I throw the combo and get dropped. And then Billy, you literally see Billy in the corner like this.
What the hell?
He was like, no. So then like after the fight, we were like, we're never calling X again.
Never, ever
never
again.
X again. So then Billy fights after that. I'm cornering him, and I see that combo is wide open, and I'm like, X Billy. And Billy goes, It freezes. And I was like, trust me. You have to trust me. X. And he throws it and it lands. We were like,
oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then it was funny, though, because then flash forward to after that fight, I fought Anthony Delemy for the title. And in the 4th round of the fight, if Delemy wins the 4th round, we have to go to an overtime 5th round.
Yeah.
And he goes for a guillotine. I bail on it and go flat to my back. And Tyler's calling for things for me to get up, and it's just not working. Delemy is just one step ahead. He's like, build on your base on your right arm. He grabs my right arm, pulls it down, pulls me flat on my back. I'm stuck in these positions. And then I'm even trying just like a random, like I just go for like a buggy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm doing. And I just hear Tyler, no, don't do that. Don't do that. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, if I stay here longer, I'm going to lose this round. And then Tyler, you hear him say it. He's like, Ryan, belly down and stand up. Belly down, come up. And I don't do it at all. He goes, trust me, belly down and get up.
Yeah.
So then I just bellied down and got up and it worked.
And it worked.
Yeah.
That's a lot of trust. Like even grappling, like I can't imagine with the addition of MMA, but like grappling, it's hard because it's like you want to trust them, but sometimes you do feel in the moment like you know more because you are the person out there, but you have to listen.
Yeah, and it was just one of those like, and when I talked to Tyler about it afterwards, he was like, we had watched, so that fight in particular, we broke down my opponent to a T. We knew everything about him. We knew where he was strong. We knew where he was weak. And Tyler was like, I don't think he has the technical capability to finish you with a rear naked choke. So he was confident in just saying belly down and stand up. So it was just one of these things that like we probably wouldn't have been able to do had we not put in the collaborative effort to make sure that we knew everything about the opponent. And that's another thing that like has been a big game changer. Like my coaches and I, like me and Tyler will hop on Discord when we're playing video games and then we'll pause it and then I'll like stream the fight. So then from his house and my house, we'll be taking notes on the fight. And then he'll be like, he's doing this, rewind that, see what he's doing here. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then we like take notes. So it's been like, this year has definitely just been like the complete package for me in terms of like everything that needs to be done as a professional athlete and as a professional fighter is being done.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's so much research behind the scenes. It's like yes, you have to do the job the day of, but you have to pre-do the job in advance. It's crazy.
I mean, it's
a lot of work.
It's high school all over again.
Yeah.
And I always coasted on just winging things at the last second. And it's like if you try to wing it, in an MMA fight, you're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, so and it's not grappling. Like you're gonna get knocked out.
Right, you're gonna get
scary
hurt badly. So it's just one of those things where it's like I do my homework.
Yeah.
So.
And going back real quick to talking about, being paid or not being paid what you wish you were. Why do you think you keep fighting? Is it just passion then?
So, I don't know. I really don't. I just feel like, there obviously some love of the game. And then I do think that there is definitely like a part of me that was kind of like proud of myself for like continuing to fight it into such a late age for the average person. Like
definitely,
like I'm 36 now, you know what I mean? And it's taken my entire career to have this year. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, imagine if I stopped last year and then didn't get this year off.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Self-pride. Yeah.
Right. So it was definitely like a just like, and people would be like, damn, like you're still fighting at 35. And like, I came up at the same time Jonathan Webb came up, at the same time Paul Felder and Sean Brady came up. All these guys, like I watched Frankie Edgar make his UFC debut in high school. Yeah. So it's like I've outlasted probably 90 to 95% of my peers in terms of career longevity. I
was going to say, I mean, as long as you're healthy, but I saw you have an implant knee, right?
Yeah. So I have I reconstructed so I fully ruptured my ACL. Yeah. In a point where I was like, and again, this is another like, here's like my moment, and then I ruined it. So after the pandemic, I won like 2 or 3 fights in a row, and I was feeling myself. I was like, nobody can stop me. All this other stuff. I got an opportunity to fight in front of Dana White in Boston against a Boston kid, and I was like, I think I can beat this guy. I think he sucks. And then at the last second, Dana White was like, oh, I can't make it. So then they were like, do you want to fight still? I was like, no.
Not really.
Yeah. I looked like the kid from Arrested Development. Just walking around really sad.
Yeah, me too.
And then I was just training randomly with Eddie Alvarez. We were just training, and he just went for like a trip takedown, nothing malicious. We were literally doing like a flow spar. Yeah. And I went backwards, and my foot stayed in place, and my knee like popped and then crunched. And like,
that's awful.
The scream that I let out was it was like I was being gutted alive, and it was horrible. And And I knew something was horribly wrong
Yeah.
and really bad. And then I went and got like an MRI, and they were like, you have a fully ruptured ACL.
Oh my
like
God.
it's hanging on by like the smallest thread. And I didn't have health insurance.
Yeah.
I was boned. So I was like, maybe I can, like, I was desperate. I was eating like boiled beef collagen tendon, like just the most disgusting things you could think of. I was like going full Liver King. I was like eats like. If I eat knees, I will heal my knee. Like, I was desperate. I was eating raw liver. I was trying anything and everything. Like,
Yeah. For how long?
Probably a month and a half.
Oh my
like
God.
leading up to my doctor evaluation.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I'm gonna get this thing as good of shape as possible. And the doctor was like, hey, this is torn. Like, it's not healing. Like, sorry, you need an ACL reconstruction. Like, we need to shave that out and put in a new one. And I was devastated. And then I was like, I didn't have health insurance. So then I like started Googling like pro bono ACL repair because I was desperate. And then I had seen a video on the Bear ACL, the Bear implant, like probably 7-8 years ago, because it was such like a novel idea. It was like a 3D rendering of like, what happens with the knees? We attach it together with science. And I was just like, yeah, right. I'll see that in like 20 years. And then I fast forward to 8 years later. I'm like, oh, wait, that's the thing now. And they're doing it on people.
Yeah.
So then I like researched it aggressively. I found podcasts. I found like weird like YouTube. It was like, you know how it's like they have those like Skype and Zoom meetings between doctors? So I found like post-recorded Zoom meetings of doctors discussing like case studies with the Bear implant and like the people that did the clinical trials on pigs and how they like went about everything. So like I did an aggressive amount of research on it. So when I went into the office and was like, and applied for the, I applied for a clinical trial because that was how I was going to get it done for
that makes
cheap.
sense. Yeah.
So then when they did that, you know, they wrote off a lot of the payments and things like that.
That's good.
And then, but they were like, do you have questions about this? And I was like, yeah. When I started discussing it, they were like, are you in the medical field?
Yeah, they're like,
and I
are
was
you a
like,
doctor?
yeah, I was like, no, I'm just obsessed with this. And
I guess so,
I'm going to do it. And like one of my friends from high school and my teammate, he's a full-blown physical therapist, and he was telling me, he's like, do not do this surgery, dude. He's like, we know nothing about this thing. He's like, this is brand new. This is a clinical trial. I would stick with what's tried and true, like where they take like a piece of your patellar tendon or your hamstring or a cadaver and do one of those. He's like, don't do this new thing. And I was like, you got it. And then I was like, I'm doing that. So like my mind was so made up. Nobody was telling me I wasn't doing the surgery.
Yeah.
And then I did it, and I got the surgery done, and I was rehabbing like a month before the surgery. Okay. So like I was in really, really good shape. I was doing like 20 minutes on the rogue bike every day, where I would hit like 7 or 8 miles in 20 minutes, like a pretty ferocious pace every single day leading up to the fight or leading up to the surgery. And then I got back in shape after the surgery, and I fought Jeremiah Labiano 11 months later.
Holy crap.
And like looking back on it, like my one coach, who's like, he's involved in my striking but not really involved in my MMA fights, he's like this guy's like he's like a nice bounce back fight, right? He's not like some like, killer. And I was like, oh no, he's good. Like, don't look at his record's fine. And it, you know, Labiano doesn't have the best record. It was like 13-9 at the time or something like that. But if you look at who he's fought, he fought like James Gallagher in the main event
some, like, chump.
in Ireland. He fought Noad Lahat, who was the main event in Bellator in Israel. So like this guy has fought literally just killers. And then he fought like he did combat jiu-jitsu against Damian Anderson, I think.
Yeah.
So like he's fought the who's who of anyone and everyone. Dude's a full-blown killer. So like in the back of my head, I was like, you know, I'm going to just whoop this guy. And then like in the cage, they were like, are you ready? Are you ready? And in the back of my head, I just heard something like, buckle up. You're in for a rough fucking fight. And I was like, don't say that. Don't say that. Why would you say that?
Yeah.
And then it was a brutal fight. My face was banged up. I'm pretty sure he cracked my kneecap because I checked one of his kicks. And
that knee?
No, it was the other knee.
Thank God.
But like,
still.
It was funny though, because like the first thing he does is comes out and calf kicks me right off the rip. So I was like, okay, like you're like, you don't care what my leg is.
Yeah.
Like, because again, if you beat up my good leg, it's a matter of time before I have to switch, and then he's going after my bad leg with ruthless intent. So when I checked one of his kicks by pulling my leg back, and his shin smashed my kneecap. And at the time, I remember it hit him and he stumbled backwards, and I made this face like, oh, you bet you won't try that again. And I couldn't put weight on my knee for like 3 months after that fight. And then I broke my rib in the first round too. So like on top of all this, it's one of the roughest fights I've ever been in. And then and I won
And
that
that's your
fight.
first one back.
Yeah, and I won that fight in the
Crazy.
third round with a guillotine with like
That's awesome.
2-3 minutes left in the last round in a fight that was like a complete toss up.
Yeah.
So it was
that's
just
amazing.
like, yeah. So like to have that kind of performance, and it's just like every time I have a fight where I'm like, I could walk away on this note and be satisfied. It's just like, something else happens.
It's like gambling.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm for sure.
Like when do you
a
cash
gambling
in?
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like, why would I cash in right now?
Yeah.
So it's like after that fight, then I fought for the Art of War title and won it. And then after that, I was like, well, I'll defend it. And then I lost. And then my chips are down. And then CFFC calls and they're like, hey, fight this this upcoming killer from Tiger Schulman's. And then I beat him and they're like, hey, fight for the title. Hey, defend the title.
Yeah, how
so
do you say no?
It just keeps rolling. So.
And how long have you had this knee replacement?
Like 2023,
Okay.
I think.
And so far it's still kicking?
Haven't had any issues since. So.
Is it like a mental thing though? Like when you're in there, do you not want to use that leg as much, or you're kind of
maybe that first fight back?
Okay.
I was like, and I actually did to get ready for that fight. I did an arena grappling match.
Oh, nice.
Against this submission monster named Zach Radigan. I don't know if you know him. He does weird shit like buggies and stuff like that. Things that I am not used to at all. So like I went out there and he like hyperextended my elbow with an armbar like 30 seconds in.
Great.
And like my knee held up fine, but like my
good.
arm was like destroyed. And I was just like, great. Now I have a fight in 8 weeks and I can't use my arm. And it was so funny too, because like he knew like some of my teammates. So he was actually like a big fan of me.
Oh,
so like after the fight, he's on the mic being like, this was such an honor for me to go against Ryan Cafaro. I love Ryan Cafaro. I'm a huge fan. And I'm just sitting there like, will you shut the fuck up?
If you like me so much, why'd you do that?
Yeah. I'm like, shut up. I hate you now. So, but like, he's super
hilarious.
cool. Yeah, he's a super cool dude. But like, that kind of gave me the confidence where I was like, well, at least I knew my knee didn't explode spontaneously.
Right.
So after that's when I was definitely a little more confident in doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then in the back of my head, there was always this voice saying like, if you tear it again, we're retiring. So you might as well just enjoy it and go balls to the walls. So, like, I was definitely doing things I should not have been doing way too early. Like, I was supposed to be on crutches for 6 weeks. I think I was off them in, like, 13 days.
Holy cow.
Yeah, doing...
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like, if my surgeon heard this, he'd be like, what the fuck, dude?
I'm actually sending this to him.
Yeah. But it's crazy, too, that it's, like, it's just, like, the main thing is nobody really seems to care about what you're doing unless you're winning. So, like...
True.
I mean, like... I won that fight and I like shouted out the bear implant and all this other stuff and my doctor, and then my doctor hit up the company like, hey, you should get with this guy. He's like, he's killing it right now. And then like I win a title. He's like, you should get with this guy. He's killing it. They're like, hey, whatever. And then I like win the CFFC title and the UFC fight pass and stuff. And they're like, hey, and they're like, hey, we want to get with this guy. And it's like, oh, well.
Oh,
Look who's
let me tell you my price.
Exactly. So, but it was super cool because the support that they've provided me has been phenomenal.
Cool.
And then, and what better story than, a bare ACL implant
being put to the ultimate test.
Yeah, like people are like a lot of these athletes that they're using are like snowboarders, basketball, or cross country, whatever. No one's kicking you in the leg as hard as they can.
Yeah.
So like nothing tests it worse than like literally physical impact on the knee to see if it's gonna explode.
That's honestly amazing.
Yeah. So I feel like since my implant, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I've had 5 fights, and I'm 4-1. I've passed with flying colors.
Have you been kicked directly in it?
Yeah, in sparring, stuff like that. But like, luckily, I am orthodox and against.
Okay,
but now I'm at the point where if you did kick me in the knee, I don't think think about it anymore.
Would it hurt them more?
Yeah, probably.
That's
but
funny.
like, I mean, I've definitely been like kicked in the knee and stuff like that. But I don't think I've had an issue where I don't baby it.
Yeah.
I
You
fully
use it
trust
when you need to.
the procedure and stuff like that. So we're definitely in a good position.
That's good.
Physically, mentally, spiritually, we're like, I have full trust in this surgery, and I mean,
that's the goal.
Like, it's great, and I feel great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we were talking about CFFC, but have you ever had the goal to go to the next level?
Yes.
To go to the UFC?
Only since I first started this in 2009. Okay. So only since the very beginning. Hang on one second.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Quick little chug.
I was so thirsty.
Yeah. Okay. So that was always
the goal. The goal was to always go to the UFC.
Okay.
And then, it would come and go in waves, especially when I was like 7 and 5. I was like, I don't think they will ever sign me. Mm-hmm. I don't think they'd ever be interested in me. And then like I would have these like illusions of grandeur. I was like 11 and 5, and I'd be like, I bet they'll sign me now. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, 12 or 11 and 6, and then I'd be right back to like, well, I guess that's it, and I guess I'll be whatever for whatever. And I guess this was a cool run, I guess.
And then you had the Dana almost moment. There's like little sparks.
I had a couple of almost moments. So like when I was 7-5, I then the second card that they did in the bubble was in Florida, and I went and coached Sajara Eubanks, and I went there within 7 pounds of weight. Wow. And I had all my medicals done just in case. And I was like, if you guys need a short notice featherweight, I will jump in. There was the next card. There was 8 featherweights on the card. And I was like, one of you is going to get sick or fall off or something. And one of them did. And then like I was getting to the airport, and then Paul Felder called me and was like, do not leave. And I was like, oh God, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. And then they were like pitching me because I was already there. It would have been easy. And then I was coming off a loss to Tim Dooling for the ring combat title. If I had won that fight, I was 8-4, and I would have fought fucking Giga Chigadze on 1 week's notice.
Yeah, that would have been.
It would have been something for sure.
Would have been something.
And like that would have been insane.
Yeah.
But Sean Shelby told Paul, he's like, I can't take him off a loss. Sorry, dude. And like I remember I was on the plane on the way back home, and Paul like basically told me like, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, it was because you lost that last fight, and I like cried on the way home.
Aw, that sucks.
So, and then like, if I'm completely honest, I felt like if I died tomorrow, my entire career was a bust and a waste, and I felt like I would not have been satisfied about anything I had accomplished in my own career until this year, until I won the CFFC title.
Yeah.
And like, to give you an idea, like I remembered watching this one guy win the CFFC title. I think he was a 35er a couple of years ago. And he has the belt. He's like, I want to go to the UFC. This belt doesn't mean shit to me. And I remember I was so mad.
Yeah.
And I was like, this motherfucker. I was like, if I ever won that title, you have no idea what something like this would mean to me. And then when I won the title, I collapsed on the ground and like crying and stuff when I won it, because it was like, not only did I do it at 35 years old, I did it against an undefeated juggernaut prospect. And I did it when everyone had counted me out. And like, if you looked on Tapology, it was like 2% of people thought I was going to win. Like the votes, I think, were like 200 to 4.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody thought I was just a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
And
major.
The people that thought I was going to win were like me and my coaches. Yeah. That's about it.
That's
so
all you
like,
need.
it was so funny too, because in my entire career, going against a guy that dangerous, I had never been more confident going into a fight.
Wow.
Like walking into that arena, I was like, I'm winning this fight.
Why do you think that was? Just the way you prepared?
It was everything. It was momentum. It was experience. It was preparation. It was how I felt in my last spar. In my last spar, I dominated. Wow. Like, it was like, I've had good spars leading into fights, but this last spar, I went out there and I whooped fucking ass. I like went belt to ass on 2 sparring partners for 2 rounds each, and like stopped one of them at the end. And like, nobody could touch me. Like, you couldn't take me down. You got me down. I was up in a millisecond. I took you down. You couldn't land a single shot on me. Everything was going off. I just felt unstoppable. And then like, I was definitely nervous and scared going into the fight, but I definitely, and also in this year, I started writing a lot in my notebook, especially on fight day, where I have like these thoughts of like these insecurities and these fears, and verbalizing it and then like writing it down and writing the things that I'm supposed to feel has been such a good remedy for those like inner demons, especially on fight day and competition day. So like,
yeah, it's a good idea.
I remember I first started it really when I fought Justin Patton the first time. And I remembered no one bought a ticket to the fight because no one's going to drive 5 hours to see me fight in Pittsburgh, which I totally understand. But I had like an innate fear of hearing the crowd cheer for him and make no noise or boo for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so then I remember I wrote down in my book, I was like, hey, at the end of the day, a cheer or a boo can only affect the fight if you let it. Like, they can't fight for you, go get it. True. And I remember like I was so on in the 2 minutes of that fight. And then like after that, and like I heard the crowd like cheering every time he threw something, it almost landed. They'd be like, oh, and then I'd land a clean combo and dead silent.
Right.
And I was starting to enjoy it. I was like, oh yeah, like that's how I know I landed, because I can hear a pin drop up in this hoe. So
yeah, you turned it into a positive. Now, was that something that somebody taught you to do, or you just started doing it randomly? The writing it down.
I feel like I just feel like that's stuff you see on Instagram.
Yeah, I didn't know if you worked with like a mental coach.
So I did work with a mental coach, Vinny Shorman, like years ago. He worked with Liam Harrison.
Nice.
And I did a couple sessions with him. And then one of the things that I really took away from him was like, he had this strategy where he would basically say, I want you to visualize 15 minutes after the fight. Like after the fight, when you're taking your gloves off and like everything is done and you're sitting down and you've accomplished everything you wanted to. And I want you to visualize that moment in particular. Wow. And I don't know why.
Yeah,
I never really asked him like, what's the point of that? But I didn't question it. And since we've had those like sessions, I still do that to this day.
And it helps?
Yeah. Like I remember I was rehearsing my post-fight interview speech for the Patton fight for like months.
Oh, wow.
Because I was saying, I was like, in my head, I was like, hey man, if you congratulate me, you're going to have to be real specific because I've had one hell of a year. And I like imagine the crowd just going fucking nuts. And I said it and it was just dead silent. And then you see me, I'm like this. I'm like,
you're like, yeah, that's not how it went in my head.
I was like, yeah, pretty much. No, come on, guys. And Mike Hess was like, anyways, that didn't answer my question at all. So
that's hilarious because we all do that.
Oh yeah, but I went full sended it and everything. I was like, this is gonna bang, and then the crowd's like, all right, cool. I showed it to my friends from high school. They were laughing so hard. They like, I might as well have like farted. I need to find
this clip. That's freaking hilarious.
It's super awkward.
You have to send it to me.
It's on the CFFC.
I'm gonna go find it.
It's on their YouTube. Yeah, it's
great.
My
god.
Because like if you look at it, you'd be like, oh, that's a cool thing to say. But if you understand the context of where I'm like, it's
at least you have a good sense of humor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that's one of the things that kind of has helped me with my longevity in this sport is like I've never taken myself that seriously.
Yeah, that's
like,
good.
I take myself dead serious on fight night, and that's it. And then like every other time, we're just like me and the boys are doing tomfoolery, and that's like what we do. And then like, and it's just like even on like social media, I'll try to do some cool posts and things like that, but like. I got pretty popular on TikTok for doing like some stupid stuff with my cat and then like making like some funny like I made this one where I was like, imagine you lose a fight to me and then you see this video and it was like me doing like the gritty and like a ballerina twirl. And so I was just like people are like, why do you post this? And I was like, it keeps me humble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It keeps me grounded.
Absolutely.
So it's because it's like if you can't make fun of yourself, you're too serious and you're 100%. Not going to enjoy what you do. So like I enjoy clowning myself from time to time. Or just like making just enjoy like a little bit of self-deprecating humor. It's a good time. Not to the point where you're like, God, you suck at this sport. But like, because there definitely is a fine line of like, I've seen people like, and I definitely did it too. Like I lost my Ring of Combat fight to Tim Dooling, and I remember posting something like, oh, when you had all these fucking muscles and they did absolutely nothing, like, great job, idiot.
Yeah.
And then like my wife was like, why would you say that? like why would you say that about yourself? Like, why are you so mean to yourself? And like that kind of really like, she just said that and I was like,
you're like, yeah, wait a minute.
Why am I bullying myself? What is the point of this? So like that kind of really made me take a step back, and it was like, you know what? And there's like one of those like warrior in a garden quotes where it was something like, if you speak negatively to yourself, the inner warrior inside you cannot tell if you're being serious or not. Yeah. It's just something that
it makes sense. And it's like also makes sense why you were posting it, right? Like it's like you're trying to like deflect from like
I was trying
how
to laugh
you actually
about
were.
Oh, I was so depressed after the fight. Yeah. I hated everything about combat sports. And that was right before the pandemic hit. So like I was 7-5. I just lost my first fight by submission ever in a fight that everybody thought I was going to win for a title. And it was my second time fighting for a pro title that I lost. So I was like 0-2 in pro title fights. I had no money. Yeah. Like my wife was nursing at the time. She was a nurse at CHOP at the time. She was like, like those pictures where the guy's like hugging his girlfriend behind like for the groceries that was I was like, sugar mama, please can you get the groceries from Costco, babe?
That's funny.
Like when the stimulus check hit, I needed that badly. So like to give you an idea of like how bad I was, I needed $1,200 bad.
No, I believe
so like it. I was and it was at when the pandemic hit, no one wanted to train. So like no one wanted to make my job was gone.
Right.
So like I had one friend from high school who was making a lot of money as a lawyer, and he was like, oh yeah, dude, like we'll hit. So like I literally one person kept me from having to like rely on my wife completely. I was still able to pay my bills because of one person. We would go hit at like my middle school parking lot because there was nowhere else to train. So it was amazing. Like, it was just like these little key things that like you don't ever forget of. Like these were the people that were there for you when no one else was, or like you were at like your absolute lowest points.
Yeah.
And like, I've told this on multiple podcasts before, but I always like to talk about it. My wife, Shannon, pushed me to like, she was like, hey, if you want to like really get back and like make a comeback off this, like we're going to have to change some things and you're going to have to like really go hard. And like she would make me do this horrible circuit in the basement of our Philly house. We had like a 400 or 500 square foot basement, like the size of this room basically. And we would do like a 30-second airdyne sprint and then 30 seconds of another exercise, punch it, or like ground and pound, dumbbell curls, abs. She'd make me put on a weight vest and run up and down her basement stairs. Like she would, you name it, just pick any exercise for a half hour straight with zero rest.
Wow.
Yeah. So
was she doing it with you too?
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Well, one of us was on the bike for 30, one of us was doing the exercise. So that's how we would alternate back and forth. We like heard the idea of it from like a Khabib's camp, like the AKA camp or whatever. And then we started doing it, and then there was nothing else to do in the pandemic, so we would end up doing it 5 to 6 times a week.
Damn. Does she train?
She fought Muay Thai 10 times.
Cool. Okay.
Now she's a mom, so she's enjoying her mother era, but I wouldn't be surprised if she comes back. But she basically helped me get over like my lack of confidence and like my cardio and stuff like that, because people would always tell me I was in good shape, and again, this is like that self-talk. I never believed it.
Right.
So like in fights, I was always worried about I'm gonna gas, I'm not in shape, and I think a lot of that had to do with also overtraining as well. So like it's just taken so many years and fine-tuning things and finding the happy mediums and the experience that like that's why I feel like this year in particular I did so well. I just feel like I'm more experienced than all these young guns coming up.
Hell yeah. And you have a lot of really great people in your corner too.
Yeah. I just have it's a phenomenal support system. It definitely takes an army for sure. So like that's what I'm really proud of, like the relationships that I have with the people I have, and without them, there's no way I would have accomplished anything I did this year. Yeah.
And I wanted to go back a little bit. You were talking about like, joking around and being a little lighthearted. Do you think having less of an ego helps you be a better fighter? Or do you think having an ego is necessary to be a good fighter? I really think it
depends person to person.
Yeah?
I mean, okay. I know people that are just assholes, or that people that think so highly of themselves and like think they're better than everybody. Like, I don't definitely put in the work. And then like those guys go out there with no like, it's like they ignore people saying like, hey, you could lose this fight because you're not taking this seriously. And all they hear is, I'm not losing a fight. And then they go out there and then perform and dominate. And it's like, oh,
so it does kind of.
Yeah. So, but like there are some people that like, they're so worried about everything they're doing wrong. They basically freeze themselves via over analysis. So that it's just like, there's so much minutia that goes on from person to person. And it could be different for a fighter in a different era of their career. Mm-hmm. Like I've seen guys that were like coming up, they were just young, hungry killers that like constantly were in the trenches with some of the best in the world. And then after a while, they like kind of rest on their laurels, or like people are telling them how good they are, or they start like getting into the limelight. And like, then all of a sudden they're focusing on their social media way more than they are training. And then they're like bringing a camera guy with them everywhere. And it's like, instead of like actually getting the rounds you're supposed to get in, you know what I mean? And it's like, I want to do cool stuff too, but it's like, if I'm not getting paid to do that, nobody gives a shit. Right. So it's like, I have to make sure, like now when I bring a camera guy to like my training, it's like because I'm being paid to film something. So it's like, hey, I actually am doing this. I'm not just trying to like promote myself on Instagram. Yeah. You know?
You're not just like throwing shit at the wall.
Right. And don't get me wrong, the game has shifted today where like you have to have a strong social media presence.
That is true.
Like I've heard through the grapevine that it's like fighters won't get certain fights in the UFC because like your social media isn't big enough. Like you have like 30,000 followers. This guy's got 250,000. You know what I mean? So it's like you kind of do have to put in the work in every aspect of it. You can't just be a fighter anymore. You have to be a character.
Yeah,
you have
to sell yourself.
You have to be a personality.
Yes. So I was talking to Brianna St. Marie, if you're familiar with her. She's a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and she was saying that she used to get annoyed because she would like beat certain women who had a bigger following, and they would get promotions she wouldn't get, and she used to be like, what the hell, I literally beat you. But then she realized like that's a part of the game. As much as you have to do well on the mats, you have to promote yourself.
And I mean, super fucked up, but like,
is what it is.
No, and I'm just gonna say like, also like, I don't know how else to say this, but like, if you're gonna be a good fighter and if you want to be pushed, like, don't be ugly. I don't know how. Like, it's really, I knew you were gonna say that. It's really messed up. But like I moisturize. You think this was an accident? Like premeditated?
You think that goes for men as much as women?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Like maybe not as much, but like definitely for females, like I've seen like
For
there
women,
are girls
for
who
sure.
get opportunities that they should never
Definitely.
get because they are
100%.
super hot. So
Yeah. And
like,
men are the ones watching.
Right,
That's why
exactly.
for men, I was curious that you think that for men, because I'm like, most of the people watching your fights are men, so I don't think they give a shit if you're moisturized.
Well, I mean, you have to, for men also, you have to have like a dynamicness to you. Like you have to be exciting in addition to like you can get away with being ugly if you're good at fighting to the point where like people are entertained. Like Zabit looked like Abraham fucking Lincoln. You know what I mean? But he would throw 14 spinning strikes around and then like do a backflip and take you down. It's very true. Stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to have that X factor if you don't have the I'm handsome factor.
Yes.
So I feel like I have both.
There you go. Or even I would even argue, and like you need a good story.
Yes.
Like if people can relate and be like, oh, like what a comeback from like a horrible thing that happened to you. That helps too.
And I also just feel like in my position now, I feel like who can relate more to my story? Mm-hmm. Like I am the guy that almost made it so many times and then hit a roadblock and then should have given up but didn't and kept going. And then like I feel like James J. Braddock from Cinderella Man. Like because again, like the Bulldog of Bergen, like he had this promising upstart career, hit a low point where he was injured and like rushed the title too quickly and things like that, and then hit the Great Depression. So like for me, the pandemic is like child's play compared to this guy. During the Great Depression, he's like, you know, probably he's like selling his golden tooth to pay for food for his kids and stuff like that. So like again, I feel like I relate to James J. Braddock, but like my mountain is a molehill compared to what he went through. And
that makes sense.
But there are so many similarities in our stories in sense like late into our career when both of us have been written off completely. We have the best year of our lives, the best year of our career. And it's like now with I have my own kid at home, and it's just sort of like it relates to me where it's like maybe I didn't, when you ask me like why did you fight for all these years? I don't know. And then maybe now for the first time I really know what I'm fighting for. Yeah. And that's like that's like I feel like that like changed me a lot. It was like the birth of my kid.
How old is your child?
He's 1 and like a month.
Aww.
So yeah, and I just feel like I just feel like everything was about myself beforehand, and now I feel like I have like I feel like I have like a purpose in my life of like what I want to do now because of him, and it just, you know, he means the world to me, and I just want to like I want him to be proud of me when he's older. So that's like
that's awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely like everything that I never knew that I needed in my life, and I like am thankful for him every day. Yeah. He's so cute.
That's awesome. When you had your son, like you've had a few fights since he's been born, right?
Yeah, so
like at least
like
two. I think
he was born right after the first patent fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you notice a different motivation?
So it's so funny because everybody has said like there was a point where when I was fighting Ricardo Fuentes, like we were having like a back and forth, and then he dropped me in the first round, and then I got up, and I feel like when a lot of people get dropped, they're like kind of worried, and when he dropped me, I came up like a bat out of hell, and like just got right in his and I got right in his face immediately, and I walked him down like a psychopath for the next 3 rounds until I knocked him out in the 3rd round. And people have just said to me, like, they were like, I don't know what happened.
There's some correlation there.
They were like, dude, you got dad strength.
I was gonna say.
Something. They're like, I've never seen you fight. Like, they're like, you fight like a man possessed. And maybe they're and it's funny too because I was Andre Petrosky actually told me that one of the most interesting statistics is the vast majority of fighters have their first child then lose.
That's interesting. I wonder why that is.
It's like a very high statistic or something.
Maybe
like
it's because they're like, you know, they're distracted.
Maybe because it's a lot of shit going on. You know what I mean? So like I've had a lot of stuff go on.
Interesting.
Yeah, and but I just think it, like I said, it affects everyone differently. And like Eddie Alvarez told me too. He was like, dude, like you now have like something to fight for, and he's like, and I can see it in you. Like you want, like I'm ready to move mountains for this kid. And I even said it in my post-fight interview in that fight. I was like, I think about someone trying to get in the way of a good life for my child. And I just like, with like that in mind, I have like fucking, my wife calls it triangle eyebrows, like that it only comes out when I fight, but I'm like, so that's basically how I feel. Like if you're going to get in the way of what I want for my child, like I will, like it's you or me, and I'm going to flatline you in there. And it's just been like, there's just been an intensity and a focus and a drive this year that I feel like I've never had before.
That's really awesome. It's funny. You said almost verbatim what Jeremiah Wells said to me when I had him on the podcast. He was like, I started, MMA because he wanted to show his son, or I think it's his son. Yeah. He wanted to show his son, that his dad did something he's proud of. Yeah. And I just think that's really beautiful to think that far ahead, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though. I never thought about it like that. Yeah. I just feel like with Calvin in my life, that gave me
purpose.
Yeah. A purpose and a reason to do what I'm doing and to continue to do what I'm doing, because there's no, my mom has been telling me to retire for like a decade. She's like,
take a piano.
Exactly. She was like, I would love for you. She's like, she's offered me money, things like that. Oh yeah. Yeah. She's, and again, like I always, didn't appreciate it. And I definitely like took it to heart and was kind of like, what is your problem? Like, aren't you supposed to be supportive of me? Yeah. And then like, I have my son.
Now you get it.
And then he bunked his head on the floor. And I was like, if someone punched him, I might lose my mind. Like I would see literal red. Oh, so I was like, I called my mom and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know.
I get it.
I get it. And she was like, thank you. And I was like, I'm not going to listen to you, but I get it. And she was like, okay.
Have they come to your matches?
Yeah. So my mom has come to fights before, and then after a while she stopped coming. Yeah. So like there was one fight that it was a really, really, really rough fight in my amateur career, and she just had a really rough day that day, and after that she was kind of like traumatized.
I get it.
And I totally get it. And like if my mom is going to be freaking out at a fight, I don't want her to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or if it's upsetting her, Yeah.
So now my mom goes to church and lights a candle for me.
There you go.
On fight day. And like I appreciate that more than anything. You know what I mean? And then she just waits for the text update.
Very nice.
And I feel like that's a great happy medium for both of us. So.
Definitely. Yeah, my grandmom told me she would not come to my jiu-jitsu matches because she said she would come on the mats with her purse and beat the opponent up. So she's not invited to come.
She'd put the old brick in there.
Literally. Okay, I know we're coming up on an hour, so let's end with any hot takes. You know what that is?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Of course I know what a hot take is. Let's see. Is there have there been any good hot takes recently that I can kind of build off of, or?
Okay, well, when I had Jeremiah on, I asked him if he believes men should have to wear shorts over their spats, and he replied that if they're black, yes. So you can follow that.
Yeah, Asian men don't have. No, I'm just.
I was like, all right,
damn you, Jeremiah. Of course, the Korean guy has to follow you up on that one, you motherfucker. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah. That's such a great setup. Yeah. Fucking A.
I was really proud of him.
Yeah. So I was a habitual compression short wear guy. Okay. Like I wore them way too tight. Like I was like not Dennis Hallman in the Speedo, but like I would definitely push it because I thought, when I was a young single MMA fighter / gym coach, I thought it was hot shit, and I was like, ladies like to like the legs and stuff like that. So in my old age, I definitely wear. But you've seen videos of my fights. Yeah. My fight shorts are as short as they get. Like I was looking at the replay of my last fight, and my fucking cup strings are hanging out while I'm knocking him out, and I was like, ooh. I'm like, oh, look at that. And oh god, maybe we should I was like, next fight I'm definitely gonna wear 2 pairs of underwear to make sure that people don't see these strings, because it starts to look a little kinky.
What are we watching here?
Looks borderline kinkish. So but yeah, let's see hot takes. In terms of a hot take. I just feel like people are doing too much now in terms of combat sports. Like there's too much focus on things that don't apply to MMA. Too many dots on screens. Too many dots on screens with cool glasses. You know what I mean? When they're like,
yes.
Too much of this, that, and the third with strength and conditioning and stuff like that. And like, oh, I'm now working out with this stupid mask or this stupid protocol, or like I know people that they have to eat, everything has to be perfect, and it's like the biggest thing for me is just you have to be consistent with the stuff that works. Right. I think strength and conditioning is important? Absolutely. Do I do it 6 days a week? No.
Yes.
But I've done it consistently for 16 years with the same strength coach 2 to 3 times a week, and That, like, for me, and it's funny that I'm kind of bashing strength training, but it's also my anchor.
Yeah.
So, like, I strength train twice a week at 7 a.m., so I have to be up at 5:45 a.m., and that keeps me in the zone because that means I can't dick around the night before 2 days a week.
That makes sense.
And if I want to have a good day after that, then I have to go to bed the night before at an appropriate time. So it's like, that keeps me grounded. And then aside from that, it's gotten simple. It's a lot of road work for me. It's a lot of technical training via grappling, pad work, stuff like that. I spar 2 to 3 times a week in camp, and then out of camp I spar pretty infrequently because, like, and there's a lot of guys that, and this will segue into my next hot take. There are a lot of people that are, like, really worried about brain trauma, which I totally understand.
Okay.
So it's definitely something, like, I am not going to spar constantly if I'm going to get my head bashed in.
Yeah.
Which also segues into my next point, that my hot take is a lot of fighters today are absolute pussies. They are enormous vagines. Like, in the sense of, like, you see guys that are like, I'm super worried about my head. Oh, and I'm like, then don't fight. What are you doing? This is a sport where you get kicked upside the head, idiot. Why are you here then? If
It's a fair point.
If you are worried about brain trauma, you are in the wrong fucking sport. You know what I mean? I don't know of a lot of, like, NFL players or professional wrestlers that are like, I'm worried about head trauma. It's like, yeah, because they know what they signed up for. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you can't take the heat, get the fuck out the kitchen. Get out. Like, and I'm not saying that, like I'm worried about it too.
Yeah.
But also, I'm going in there to take your head off.
Yes.
And, like, I'm also, like, I'm definitely live by the sword, die by the sword. And I've had fights where, like, you have to make a conscious decision in the middle of a fight, or even in a spar, where you're like, I'm going balls to the walls, and I'm going to put hands on this dude. And if I get hands put on me, one of us might go down, and let's see what happens.
That's an interesting hot take, because do you know Shane Faison?
Yeah, love Shane.
So I had him on the podcast probably, like, over a year ago now, and we were talking, and he was saying that a lot of people, when they're sparring, their goal is to try to, like, ring the person's bell, and he's, like, very against that because he feels like it's unnecessary trauma before the actual fight. Any opinion?
I agree with that 100%.
Okay.
But to the body is fair game.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I am definitely a strong advocate of, like, you got to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
But you got to do it intelligently. And, like, there are things that I do that I like, never, I live by. Like, I throw head kicks, I pull them at the last possible second. And I'm very proud of the control that I've developed.
Yeah.
I have hit people with head kicks and pulled it at the last second. It should have flatlined them. And we kind of have, like, a mutual, like...
Yeah.
And then also, that's part of, like, the ego thing we were talking about earlier. Like, I've had people, I throw a head kick and I pull it, and then they catch it and take me down.
Gotcha.
And then I get dominated the whole round. But it's not, I go home thinking, I suck. I go home thinking, if I had actually thrown that would have been a very different round. But I have to be comfortable knowing, like, you know, what would have actually happened. And then it's like, well, I got dominated on the ground then. And then you have to then think, well, why did you get dominated on the ground?
Right.
What do we need to work on then now? Because it's like, we don't need to work on the head kick because that clearly works. But now we have to work on the other stuff. So it's like, being a good sparring partner often exposes you to what you actually truly need to work on.
That's a good point. And, you know, you're making me think. I have a question. How often are you managing your partner's emotions?
Like a training partner?
Yeah, I can tell you from, like, a jiu-jitsu standpoint, you know, sometimes it does get emotional because you're beating the shit out of each other. We're not punching and kicking, but sometimes someone catches you and you have to, like, be like, that was a good catch. Are you ever in a position where you land something and the person gets pissed off and you have to manage that emotion?
Yeah, 100%. Like, so we have this one, I have a teammate who, like, definitely is a hothead. And then for some reason, I'm, like, one of the only people that can talk him down. And everybody laughs because, like, we keep making the, like, the Black Widow from Avengers with the Hulk reference. I'm like, hey, sun's getting real low, big guy. Like, come on, bring it down. Like,
I love that.
Yeah. So, like, it's super funny because, like, my friends will be like, sun's getting real low, big guy. Like, bring it down. It's such a funny reference. That hilarious. I get to identify as Black Widow.
So you have the emotional intelligence to kind of mitigate that.
I would say so, but there's also, you know, been points where, like, I've definitely lost my cool as well, especially when people are being malicious or like sparring to prove a point when it's like, hey, we're just trying to get better.
Yes.
And then, like, it's like, all right, well, the next time I spar you, I'm gonna actively try to put it on your ass just to prove a point. If you want to try to prove a point now, I'm gonna get you on the next one. Now that I know we're on an even playing field.
Yeah.
No, but like,
fair.
There are also like certain sparring partners, like me and Billy Markle, we will hit each other in the face, and then we have like that look where it's like, cowabunga it is, motherfucker. And like we will spar each other to the death. Like definitely way too hard.
It's a crazy sport,
yeah.
isn't it?
And then like we like after the round we're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And then we tap gloves and then like we're like best friends immediately after the round.
It's such a weird, like just combat in general. It's so weird.
It's a very
the way our minds
strange
work.
dynamic. It's like some sort of like masochistic relationship
It's crazy.
in all facets of it. But
Crazy. So obviously you just had your fight. Anything coming up for you? It could be jiu-jitsu.
no, but now that you mention it, I wouldn't mind doing like a jiu-jitsu
Like a
tournament
Fury
coming
or
up.
something.
Yeah, something like that. I'm definitely open to like just testing my skill set elsewhere. I don't know if this would work, but I need to talk to the CFFC president about this because I'm under contract. But
Yeah.
I have competed in professional Muay Thai and professional MMA. My last mountain I have not conquered is professional boxing, and I just want one.
And
My
so
wife
you're interested in
hates
it.
the idea of it, but I want one pro boxing fight,
Okay.
and that's it. So this way I can say that I've done the triple
Yeah.
crown, boxing,
Very
kickboxing,
cool.
and MMA. So then once I've done that, then I also have like the credentials to be like, hey, I've been a professional boxer.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? A triple threat in 3 sports.
Yeah. Which that makes me wonder, like, where do you see your MMA career going?
I mean, this year I feel like I am currently at the weight that I normally am on fight week. So like I have not blown up at all. I have been training pretty consistently. I'm dieting pretty hard for not having anything coming up.
Yeah. You cut quite a bit, don't you?
I cut 20 pounds on fight week. So I cut 20 pounds on fight
a
week on
lot.
average. So like approximately 7 days out from weigh-ins, I am normally 165-ish pounds. And I usually have to diet to get to 165. So currently I'm walking around at 165.
Yeah.
Fluctuating because I had a delicious breakfast burrito on the way here.
I assume you have it down to a science at this point.
Oh yeah, 100%. And
that's
like,
intense.
yeah, and so much of that I've learned from like guys from the UFC performances to the head of the PI is Charles Stuhol, or I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's awesome. And like, I've learned so much from him. And it's so funny too that like people, like fighters in the UFC that miss weight, I have very little sympathy for.
Yeah.
Because it's your job.
Right.
It is your job.
That is a
And,
hot
like,
take.
I understand. Yeah. And it's like, who am I to bash guys that are in the UFC? I'm not even there yet.
Or women, yeah.
Well, okay. So this is an interesting hot take. I think that women should have a once a year allowance of a 2-pound allowance that they can choose to exercise at any point in the year at any weight cut because of periods.
Okay.
So because like,
I feel like it should be once a month then, but go on.
yeah, I mean, but like, you know, you got to
Yeah, like the
extend an olive
timing,
branch.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, if this is the fight where you're going to choose to exercise your 2-pound allowance, this is the one you get for the year sort of thing. So it's
That's
like,
fair.
because again, like I've seen women go through hell
Yes.
trying to cut weight and then trying to do it on their period when their body is retaining
Not really
water.
fair.
It's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
So like as somebody who's coached a lot of women in my career, like a lot of people identify me as like the girl coach.
Yeah.
Because I relate so well to like a lot of these females that I train.
Yeah.
I've seen them cut weight and I've seen them cut weight on their periods and it can be a
it's
2-pound
hell.
swing. So I just feel like once a year women should have the opportunity to be like, hey, I'm exercising my 2-pound clause.
I like it.
And then like all MMA across the entire board should be like, all right, that's their one.
Yeah.
So, and I just feel like another woman competing against her will be like, yeah,
get
that's
it.
fair. They'll be like, as long as I get it too, then
Yeah.
we're cool.
Oh,
So,
that's true. Like them and their opponent.
yeah, like
auto.
right.
your
If you're
opponent
gonna
auto
miss
gets
weight
it.
by like 2 pounds, you exercise your clause, but you only get one a year. So it's
Yeah.
like if you abuse it,
Yes.
then you lose. So it's like
pick
you
your
better
fights around the.
you
correct-
better save it for when you like things are really when your cycle's really cycling.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's
So-
hilarious. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to bring up before we close out? Did I miss anything?
I think we covered everything. I think this has been lots of fun.
Yeah,
So.
I had a blast. I can't wait to clip so many things
Yeah.
that you have come out of your mouth. But thank you so much. I
Yeah,
really
thank you so much
appreciate
for
it.
having me. I was worried because I thought that I was like, it's called Jits and Gigs, and I was like, I suck at jujitsu. There's nothing for me to tell here on this
I'm trying
podcast.
to branch out, and like
Yeah.
jujitsu is always a part of MMA, so
This is true.
It works, yeah. Unfortunately, the name, but it's too late now.
Yeah, fuck it, we ball.
Yeah.
So,
but thank you.
yeah,
I
thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.